Welcome to the Delight Your Marriage podcast. You're joining me, Bella Rose, as I dive deep into the beauty, power, and truths about intimacy. Learn not only the practicals, but the heart behind what making love is all about. Delight your marriage. Hi there, this is Bella. Thank you for spending some time with me. I am on sabbatical at the moment, but you are listening to an just incredible story about a gentleman who follows after Jesus. He and his wife are doing incredible things in the world. And I'm so excited that you get to hear his journey in this area of physical intimacy. He loves his wife. He's a good man. He cares about his kids. He cares about God's work. And yet this area of intimacy was just a struggle for them. So I can't wait for you to hear how he's processed, how he's changed, and how their marriage and intimacy has changed. It's so exciting, and I can't wait for you to hear and get that hope and faith and belief that it could happen for you too. Or if you have a friend that needs this kind of hope, send it to them. Take the courageous step to send it to them as well. And if you want help in the same ways that these gentlemen have, or the women that you've heard on the podcast have, you can go to delightyourmarriage.com/cc, get on a clarity call. We'll see if you're the right fit and if we can help you. And if so, we'll invite you in. We'd love to help you. All right, come on in. Let's hear Minister Matt's story. Oh my goodness, Matt, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yeah, happy to do it. Happy to do it, Bella.
Awesome. So you're graduating or just graduated from the Masculinity Reclaimed program. And can you give me a little context of maybe your background and your marriage and just a little introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so my wife and I have been married about 15 years, 3 kids. And, by all accounts, it is a good marriage. It has been a good marriage. But what we've always struggled with is on the physical intimacy side. So the deal was it was just sort of routine, and it felt like physical intimacy was more of a duty, and it's something that had been a challenge for me for quite a while. But honestly, I didn't even really know. I knew I wanted more. I knew it was frustrating, but I didn't really understand why. So I just kind of had been out there looking for resources, and that's when I came across your podcast. And it was really cool, Bella, because again, it was sort of all fuzzy for me. But when I found those, it was the first time that I had come across someone that could articulate, well, here's what you're feeling, and here's probably what you're feeling, and here's why, like, here's the problem. And so, I just kind of resigned myself to that's what it is. This is how it's going to be. And then every time I try and address it and bring it up, it just sort of blew up in my face. I've subsequently learned why, but it just kind of got to the point where it was just something we couldn't talk about. It was just off the table, couldn't talk about it. And this is how it was going to be. And so when I found those podcasts and it kind of clarified some things, I sort of finally understood, oh, okay, yeah, this is what I want. It gave me, hope for the first time in a long time.
Wow. That is just amazing. Wow. So what made you decide? So you've been listening to the podcast for a while, and what made you decide that you wanted to go further and actually do a program?
Yeah, good question. I wasn't sure at first. But in one of the podcasts, it talked about delights. And so after a couple of weeks of listening to it, I was like, all right, this seems good. This makes sense. I tried. We're going to try it. We're just going to try it. So I did took one thing, put it into practice, and she responded very well, like that night. that day. Yeah. So I was like, okay, this Bella knows what she's talking about. So maybe we should go a little further. And and also I kind of knew, I need some structure. I need some accountability. This is something that I need. And so yeah, from the get go, I thought, yeah, this makes sense. I want to do it.
Oh, that's so cool. And does she know, or what was
No, she doesn't know. She still doesn't know. And that was intentional, because I wanted to know that what I was doing was real, that the results were real and not, well, she knows, so she's trying to meet me halfway or something like that. I wanted it to be authentic and to know that it was having the desired effect. So yeah.
That's amazing. And did you find other guys were in a similar boat?
Yeah, totally. I don't know exact numbers, but I have to guess it was more than half. It was definitely the majority.
Yeah.
And for very similar reasons. Most of it was, I want to know, I want to be sure that this stuff works. And it does. It does. So that's the good news.
And would you say that the guys that made that choice are, godly men who love the Lord? And
yeah, totally. That was, and that was the number one criteria, is I wanted someone that shared that view. Someone that understood, shared my values, shared my beliefs. We've got problems. We're not perfect, but we could come at it that way together, with our faith. So totally.
That's so good. That's so good. And I know, you're a ministry leader, so and there are other pastors in the program. And so I'm so grateful that you felt, comfortable in those ways.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in the ministry, which is really cool for me. And honestly, that's one of those things. Sometimes it's hard when you're in the ministry, or even, really plugged into a church or anything like that. I haven't always been, because you feel like I should have this figured out. But it's been so cool and so helpful and so refreshing for, people with different strengths but hey, we need some guidance, and we want to get better in this area, and we're challenging each other. And that's been really neat to see.
So cool. So cool. So what, did you have any, like maybe favorite things about the program specifically that you could share?
Oh man, Bella, where do I start? Yes, I think obviously the training's great, and it was the way that it was laid out systematically, so that you're not biting off too much. You can follow it. There's progress. The wisdom and insight was phenomenal. To me, I kind of go back to one of the coolest parts about it was the community. And as you get into it, man, it sounds cliche, but the other men doing it become, your friends, and then you're doing it together, and just the community that is what keeps you going, and really spurs you on. And that was, to me, the neatest and most unexpected part. I kind of had an idea on what the rest of it might look like, but that was the coolest and most unexpected part.
Yay. That's true. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I
great
love
too.
it.
Please hear that you're great too. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's so good. For a gentleman listening, was there a certain moment that you were like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. This is really working. Could you share anything like that?
Yeah, there's a couple, as I kind of look back, there's a couple milestones. So, it was probably around, and if this is too much detail, tell me to stop. It was probably around a couple weeks in, where you could almost feel like the atmosphere in the relationship shift. And so, like, it just got lighter. It got easier. Things got more playful. We were having fun together. And I don't even know, like I was talking about, I came into this seeking to fix a problem specifically around physical intimacy. And then there's all these other unanticipated, benefits, problems I didn't know that necessarily that we had, but benefits, results. So that was one of them. And because I remember talking to the guys when we got back on, and it's like, man, something like, and you almost feel it in the house shifted, right? where we were excited to see each other. We were happy to be around each other. We enjoyed just being around each other again. So that was a really cool one. And then later on in the program, there was a section around communication, and looking back on it now, I think that was one of the biggest challenges that caused some of the issues around physical intimacy, and just putting some of the stuff into practice, and how our communication changed. And we were, it's like all these conversations that had been stacked up for 15 years that we needed to have, like boom, 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 started happening. Wow. And it was really cool. And one of them was around physical intimacy. I said earlier that, that conversation was just off the table, couldn't broach it, always turned out bad. We were able to have that conversation, and it was, she shared some stuff that she'd been feeling for years and years and years, and why, she felt like we were in this spot. And then she shared, with me a desire, like, I want this too. Like, I want to go on this journey with you, which was like the coolest thing.
Oh man, it's so good. Oh, I just love it. Did you notice where other guys, was there someone else you were going to say?
No, go ahead. Maybe we'll get there. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, no, I want to hear what
the other thing. The other thing that I thought was really, really cool, that was unanticipated, was how much my relationship with Jesus deepened in this course. And so it was just a couple weeks in, and I felt like I was doing my quiet time, I was praying, and I felt like he was saying, hey, this is great. Like, we're going to do this thing with your wife, and we're going to grow in intimacy. We will get there. And also at the same time, as you're relearning how to pursue your wife, and you're learning to pursue intimacy, and we're going to do the same thing with us. And I thought that was like the coolest thing. And so as I've pressed into that, and we've done that, it has been just beyond expectations. So cool. Some of the most intimate times I've had with the Lord. My walk is a lot better, and prayer time's richer. So that's been really cool. I thought I was signing up for this type of course, but it's benefited everything. So that's been really fun for me.
Oh my gosh, Matt, that is just the best, right? It's the best. And I think that, a lot of times men can come to a course like that and have that concern. Like, is this just, tactics, manipulation, whatever, that's surface level. But it sounds like you're saying something else.
Yeah, no, but I mean, and maybe even that was my motivation to start, but you wind up getting so much more. And there is a true heart change that occurs, where, I can say now that I love my wife more than ever. And again, I thought that was just sort of something people said, to earn brownie points in front of their wives, but it's true. Like, I love my wife more than ever. And there was a legitimate heart change that occurred. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is the best. This is the best. Okay. So I was going to just ask, like, with other guys, did you see these shifts? Were there changes? Were there results?
Yes. Most of them were faster than me. I'm a little stubborn. Most of them were faster than me. But it's really cool. Cause again, like, you're going through it with guys, and you're often at the same pace, but some of the guys are having, everyone's different. So some of the guys are having some wins early on, some a little bit later than you. And so that's really fun. You're like 99% happy, and sometimes like 1% jealous, like, oh, but then it also gives you hope that, like, okay, so it happened for him, it'll happen for me. And it usually does. So the heart change, I felt like I was later than everyone else on, though. Like, people were saying it, get it. And I was like, okay, well, but then it didn't happen. So.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that amazing? That's so good. Okay. Well, any thoughts that you have for somebody who's maybe on the fence? They've maybe heard about, maybe they've been following the podcast for a long time, and they're kind of like, well, I'll get it from the podcast, I don't need to spend 3 months, doing something that I already get. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say just do it. I'd say just do it. Because I had, I said that I wanted to, but then I had hangups too, and honestly, one of them was the cost in ministry. It wasn't, but I'd kind of got to the point where I thought, hey, if this will deliver the results that some of the testimonies that I listened to, if it will deliver those results, totally worth it. It's totally worth it. And also, it had been years, and I was like, I really don't want to look back in 5-10 years and be in the same spot. I really don't want to do that. So I thought, you know what, let's just go for it. And all I can say is totally worth it. So much more than worth it. So, if you're on the fence, just go for it.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's awesome, Matt. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you feel like I needed to have asked you and didn't? Any other comments?
I don't think so, Bella. I don't think
good.
so. Just thank you. Thank you. This is really cool what you've done. And I've really benefited. So thank you very much.
Oh my goodness. So welcome. So welcome. And I didn't ask you for this, Matt, but if you would be willing to kind of visualize a guy out there who maybe was in a similar spot as you, good marriage, but this has just, been the area of challenge. Would you be willing to kind of pray for him in his spot?
Yeah. Oh, I'm happy to do that. Absolutely. Here we go. Father, thank you so much for just the way that you love us and how you want good things for us, and how you reach out to us in cool and unexpected ways, God. And I know that, maybe for the person listening to this is your way of reaching out to him right now and saying, I love you. I want good things for you, God. And so I just pray that you'd be with them. I pray that you'd just help them feel your affection for them. Help them feel that you see them, that you love them, that you designed their marriage, and you have so much in store for them and such great things. God, I pray that you'd guide them. I pray that you'd speak clearly and loudly about your will for the next steps, for their marriage, and for the timing. God, I just pray that a blessing over these future programs, and as men go through this, God, that you just pour out your blessing, just overflowing on them and on their marriages and on their wives, God. And God, I just pray that through all of this, that your name would be glorified. As marriages are changed, as families are kept together and healed and thrive. And God, I just pray that in all this, that we'd look back and that people from the outside would see this and they'd want some of that, and they'd be led to you through it, God. And that our hearts would just overflow with gratitude and thanks for just how good you are to us. We love you, Lord.
Yes, God.
It's in Jesus' name that we pray this. Amen.
In Jesus' name, amen. Anyone else want to go to Matt's church? I feel like every time I heard you talk, I was like, I'd like to attend that church. That sounds great.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Bella,
Yes.
Did that cover it?
Amazing. Oh my gosh.
Do we want to
Truly.
redo it? If you want to redo anything, we can redo anything.
No, I thought it was great. No, I thought it was more than great. Like I'm just thrilled. And I love your prayer. I love it's about God's affection for these men, for them to know that they're not alone in this, because so often that's just the feeling. That's just the feeling of this hopelessness and this.
It's a very lonely feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I love that you didn't pray that this person would take the program. It's that they would follow God's will for them, because God can do it in a million different ways. This is one way. He can do it all sorts of different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, it was an answer to prayer. Like I prayed for that. And this is not how I expected it to happen, especially for me. Worked great. Thanks, man. Yeah.
One thing I love about you and any ministry leader in the stuff is that they get to be better, like when you feel overflowed in love for your spouse, it's like, oh yeah, and I can love this person better, and I can do this better, and I can do this better,
Oh, totally. We, like my wife and I use the terminology, hey, I feel like my cup is empty. My cup is empty. And in ministry, that seems to be, again, I lived a life before ministry. It seems to be a lot more common because you're pouring out. My cup is more full now. That's not the only way it gets full, but it sure helps a ton. It sure helps a ton. And so, and especially in a hard place like this, it's like a shot in the arm for sure.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And I think about that for your wife too. She is
totally. Yeah.
Oh,
We had this guest here that I was telling you about, and she was just bragging on like, I don't know what's happened. It's like, I don't either. I got to go do a call. So,
wait, that's what your wife said?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She was like, I don't know what's happened, what's going on, but she's bragging about like he's helping out, he's attentive, he's complimenting me in public. It's like, it's just, it's really, really fun. Really fun.
That makes me so happy. Oh man.
So I know her cup is more full too.
Oh my gosh. That is cool. That is really, really cool. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, praise God.
I sure hope one day she gets to meet you.
I would love that. I would just love that.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much. This was really a gift.
Okay. Yeah, you're very welcome. Anytime. Happy to do it.
Oh my goodness. It's just so amazing. Thank you, Matt. Praise the Lord. Yes, that God's affection would just be made known to you, even right now, that you would just take a moment to breathe in his affection towards you. Yes. And may God transform your marriage. And whether you're right for joining a program with us or not, may this conversation have encouraged you and inspired you in a new way. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining today. And if you do want to find out if this is right for you, go to delightyourmarriage.com/cc. God bless you. We'll talk soon.